All right, greetings. Today we're gonna start with something interesting. And I think the best way to start is to frame us, to put where we should be. Um, this way, we will know where we're coming from, how the analysis is done, and where we can have some fun. So let's start by first reviewing where we are. And to simplify things, we start by defining things. I will define a simple manner. It's not precisely scientific, but let's do this. So we have a world, which is an animal realm, a place where we live with flora and fauna, which is the nature, which is the animal and the plants, roughly speaking. And we take them as nature, and we are part of this because we are apes, kind of smart apes, right? So this animal realm is residing in this dimension on this planet. So we will consider for our analysis that we are residing in this dimension in this planet. This will be later interesting for those who like interested or inquire into economics of space. Anyway, so this dimension, this planet, is going to be our realm, all right? Terrestrial realm. And then anything outside of our planet in our dimension or anything outside of our dimension is extraterrestrially real. It's both extraterrestrial and extra dimensional. So what we have, we're living on this planet. And here come our interactions in manifestations of mental and physical form. And these are part of our so-called social realm. They make our social realm. Now, how do we do this? So what we do is we have these manifestations being channeled at some point into more structured form. For example, philosophy and psychology. Psychology is more already a scientific approach to the mental manifestations and physical as well, of course. But there are other people who are better at explaining this. So precisely, it's not that simple. But if we are to make it simple, we have basically philosophy is one of the first attempts to structurize the thinking, and then we have it developed slowly into other sciences, and some sciences became exact sciences, and some became social sciences. You can call them social science or inexact sciences. And for example, such sciences as politics or economics. Now, in my thinking, these two are the most responsible for, if we don't consider psychology, because these two are also influenced by psychology of the humans. But they are also a derivative of philosophy and philosophical thinking. So the ideas, systems, models, all this stems from these main spheres, let's say, of influence over politics and economics. So we would say that politics is more of a qualitative type of systematization, and economics more of a quantitative, Jesus, type of systematization. And these two manifest themselves through a judiciary system that different countries impose on their citizens. Different governments impose on their citizens, sometimes willingly, sometimes unwillingly. No, we're not going to cover the judiciary systems yet, and maybe later to some extent. But what we have to understand is that these both politics and economics, these both sciences, social sciences, have an influence over our civilizations, over our social structures. It forms the nations. The traditions are affected, or actually, sometimes traditions affect this. Sometimes these are affected by traditions. It happens in times of revolutions, for example. Some things that happen for decades or centuries changes just in a few days happens. So these sciences, social sciences, they help humans organize our being in the animal realm on this planet in the way that we are able to not only overcome the basic struggles, but to continue the evolutionary path while attempting at dominating the animal realm from which we actually come. So it comes over in a circle, it's a closed loop, and what we have here is we have an understanding of nature, better understanding of nature through sciences, which stem from our manifestations, both physical and mental, which I find interesting. Now, what I am doing this, why I'm doing this for, is to organize your thinking around the perspectives that are being uh, used to explain certain phenomena, certain aspects of our states of being. And so we have people who've been doing this through a judiciary perspective, through political perspective, through philosophical perspective, through psychological recently, and it becomes more popular recently, and it should have been always, but normally people don't care until it bites them in the ass, and they care only when it bites them in the ass. So I guess the old KGB agent was right. The demoralized man won't care, and sometimes even not demoralized people don't care either. So let's go to the part that I would think is better um, for me to continue with, and it is about things that I'm about to do in the next videos. And they are stuff like currency and what is it, and why you have same amount of cash in your pocket, but actually you're suffering from it being too little every time. How it will can go badly. I'm sorry, how it will go badly, and I will probably won't forget probably to mention the people, because sometimes I do, who can go there into greater detail than I am, because this is rather not my interest at this moment. However, I will be covering things like systems, economic systems as well, and how they work, communist systems, fascist systems, capitalist systems, national socialist systems. Uh, it will be fun. We will check some libertarian ideas. We'll check some free market. We will check controlled economy, and we'll see what does it mean and why left and right is rather a shallow distinction, but it's easy because it's easy for people to remember. It's black and white, and nobody wants to be black, and being white is kind of bad, if you know what I mean. So we will have those, and we'll try to understand why left and right is wrong, and why anarchy and monarchy are a very good ways to waste a lot of time. And now you might think like, well, why should I care, right? Because I'm living fine, and then they keep on with their lives. But you know why you should care? Because you could have been doing much better. And when I show you how much better, you'd be like, well, why I'm not doing it better? And then you will feel disturbed. So you'll be like, no, 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 I don't like this guy. He's probably lying. It's impossible. Things people never lie. So my leaders or people whom I trust never lie. It's so hard to deceive a person. So this guy's probably a liar. You can think that. I mean, you can say and think whatever you want, but I will talk about certain things that will make you question whether your judgments about the topics that I will cover and the topics you have opinions about are correct more than you think. This will be rather great spectacle for me as well, because sometimes I might find even something new or something extremely disturbing, and all I want after that is to solve it. And if I don't, it's like a red light that is blinking in the back of my head that's like, solve it, solve it. And so I guess I'll try, or just we'll find somebody who can do that. Otherwise it's just a waste of time, and we're not here for that. We're here to learn something substantive. um well, for the end note, I leave you some interesting thing that I like to tell people, and they sometimes don't really fully understand what it is. So we'll see how it goes. So imagine you have yourself a dollar or a euro or a peso, depends where you live, or a 1 rupee in your pocket. And imagine a government has a second euro, rupee, or peso. So in the economy, imagine your whole country, and there, with 1 unit of your currency, you can buy everything, and the government half of the of everything, and with other unit that the government possesses, they can buy the other half. Now, what happens is that governments normally, or unions of governments, like European Union, can print on their behalf and on their own discretion as much as they like. So what happens when they print another 98 units? It means there are an economy total of 100 units. You still have your one, and the government now has one original plus 98 new. So in total, they have 99. So now, if you divide everything by 100, each dollar, each euro buys less. And not only that, but you own one and the government owns 99, or the affiliated individuals or entities with the governments. And what happens is that you go from being able to buy half of everything in the country to being able to buy 1%. So from 50% to 1%. It means you lost 49% of purchasing power. Let that sink in. Sounds a bit cliche. Let that sink in. Cheers.